Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing amazing wherever you are. This is Ebuka once again, and this is the Finance Switch channel. I want to say thank you for joining this channel. If this is your first time on this channel, thanks for joining. And most importantly, I want to request that you like, subscribe, and share with your friends so they can also enjoy the gems I'll be sharing in most of my videos. If this is not your first time, if you've been on this channel before, you watch any of my past videos, I want to say thank you for coming back. I assure you that you will not be disappointed with my subsequent videos. And most importantly, I just want to request that you click on the notification button so you'll be notified when a new video is posted and you don't miss any of my videos. Thank you. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about top 13 strategies that you need to do in order to retire in your early 30s, on your 40s, and of course if you're already in your 50s, as soon as possible. So the first one I would like to talk about is what I call equipping yourself with the necessary or requisite financial knowledge. And how do you go about this? Number one is reading books. You have to read so many books. There are great books, finance books that you can read that can equip you or improve your finance knowledge overall. One of them is the 80-20 principle, for instance, the Rich Dad and Poor Dad. These are really classical books. There are many other books I've read. If you want some recommendations, please drop in the comments below and I'm going to ensure that I give you as many nice, amazing books I've read and books that are going to help you in your finance journey. The other thing is to attend trainings and webinars. Now, there are so many trainings that go on from time to time, webinars. Of course, webinars in this case will be remote or virtual that can be very helpful to you, that will talk about several topics on finance, investing, income generation, debt management, and so on. Attending those sessions will significantly help your finance journey as a whole. The other area under this section I would like to talk about is networking, right? So networking is just simply connecting with other people through different platforms, through different means. One of those very amazing places which I've used several times in the past is LinkedIn. If you've used LinkedIn or you're still using LinkedIn, then congratulations, you're on the right path. All you need to do is follow the right people, keep yourself abreast of all the necessary information that's going to help you through your journey, and that's all you need to do, and it's going to help you over time. Another example is Eventbrite. Eventbrite is a platform that shows all the events happening around your city. Depending on the country where you live in or depending on where you're watching me from, there might be similar applications that provide such benefits. So keep your eyes to the ground, follow those platforms, and you'll be able to tell when finance related sessions are holding. I think most important thing I need to specify is that you don't even need to have finance knowledge to attend those sessions. You just need to go and improve your knowledge. And I assure you, as you keep attending those sessions, your knowledge about finance will continue to improve and you'll notice that you're making better finance decisions. So the other thing I would like to talk about is what I call establishing very healthy financial habits. Now, how do you do this? Very, very easy. There are many things I do personally which I think are very important and can help you as well. Number one is checking your account balances frequently. You could get notifications or alerts on your phone through your bank application or through your bank software. You can always review your bank statement. For instance, I try to review my bank statement, my online platform, as often as twice or 3 times in a week to ensure I don't have any negative balances or any unplanned expenditure or some debits into my accounts that were not planned or were not incurred by me. So what this does for you, it keeps you very much accountable and it helps you ensure that you are only incurring on the right things. Also under this section, which I think is super important, is having or maintaining a budget. I've actually seen so many people that don't maintain a budget because they believe, oh, it's all right in my head. And I'm like, no, you can't do that, because you need your budget to be able to track all your expenditures, which is the outflow in this case, and you also need to track all your inflows, which is your income sources and so on, right? So what this does for you is it gives you a general overview, I would say a broader overview or perspective of how much you're spending and how much you are generating. I can tell you categorically that since I started maintaining a personal budget, it's really helped me keep my costs in check. I can also tell you literally everything I incur my expenditures on off the top of my head without making reference to the budget anymore. So that's what it does for you. It keeps you very much abreast with what's going on with your finances. Also, another financial healthy habit that you need to adopt today is saving and investing. I see people that don't save at all or don't believe in investing. I think that's a big disaster. And if you want to enjoy the power of compounding, right, or I would say compounding interest, you need to invest today. Now, you don't get to spend everything you make from all your sources of income. You need to actually divert or channel them to the right places to generate income. Now, these are just a few of the numerous financially healthy habits that you need to adopt. The least talked about habits could include, just speaking to yourself, believing yourself, and exuding that energy of trust in yourself to achieve whatever goals you want to achieve. The third thing I would like to talk about, which I think is exciting, I find it so amazing, is paying yourself first. Now you may ask me, what is paying myself first? Why do I have to pay myself, or what do you actually mean? Well, I'm going to explain to you briefly. Now think about it. You make $100 every month, right? And then you decide to pay all your bills. For most people, they'll rather pay their bills first and do all the necessary things before they choose whether to save or invest. Now, when I say pay yourself first, all I'm simply talking about is invest in yourself, right? Invest in yourself and save as much as you can save. I would always take investment over savings because of the priority it brings and the benefit outweighs the cost relating to savings. So what I really did was establish a tiered percentage. So whatever I make at the end of the month or beginning of the month, whatever the case may be, I already know the percentage at which I'm allocating, and I'm going to talk about it briefly right now. So I call this the 25, 50, 15, and 10 rule. Pretty complicated, right? But I'm going to make it as simple as possible for you. Now, the first 25% relates to investments, right? You need to invest first even before you pay your bills. It's funny that many people may not agree with me, but I think that's the best thing you actually have to do for yourself. The 50% relates to your expenditures. Now, your compulsory expenditures like your mortgage, your rent, things that are not discretionary, right? The 15% represents savings, and the last 10% represents discretionary expenditures. Now let's take an example. If I was making $100 in a month, right? If I take the first 25%, 25% represents $25. Now that $25 goes into an investment account. Investments could be channeled towards, say, stock, ETFs, or any kind of investment vehicle I'm actually using at the moment. Now 50% of $100 is going to be $50. So $50 goes to paying most of my key bills, my important bills, my utility, my mortgage, and every other, even your groceries. Like, those are very important bills that you have to incur every month, right? Now 15%, which represents the savings, will be $15 in this case, when you relate it to the $100 I gave as an example. Now think about it. What can I save for? I could have a target saving if I want to go on a trip or a vacation to some other country, and I've been thinking about how to do it. With that consistent saving, it makes it easier for you to go on that vacation without breaking the bank, right? There are other things you could also do. There are high interest savings account today, and in some subsequent videos, I'm going to be giving recommendations of the best high interest savings accounts which I've used in the past, and I find them really amazing based on the interest I was able to get from them. Also, still under savings is emergency funds. You actually have to save some amount to protect you against any mishaps or any emergencies that occurs without your expectation. Now the last 10% in this case, which is $10, will be discretionary expenditure. So think about anything that you could scrap. You have the choice to scrap if you choose to. For instance, subscription to your TV, to some cable, and so on. Those are discretionary expenditures. Dining out is a discretionary expenditure. So you want to think about those areas and decide, are these things I want to still keep, or are these things that I want to retain? So that last 10% should be for those areas. And of course, if you want to increase your savings capacity, all you need to do is reduce your discretionary expenditures and channel that resource to your savings. Now, it's not even enough to say, oh, I'm going to pay myself first. That's not enough. You actually have to go a step further and make it clearer and achievable for yourself. And what I really do is have separate accounts. You need to have separate accounts for your savings, separate account for your income sources. So if you have passive income, you want to have a separate account for all your passive income. If you have an employment income, or say earned income, you want to have a separate account for that. What that does is helps you keep track of each of them. An emergency fund, have a separate account for that, for savings, and so on and so forth. You just need to have a separate account for each of these areas, and it helps you to track your expenditures and your savings even better. Okay, still under paying yourself first, something I think is super valuable is what I call auto deductions, right? I'm sure you already know what auto deductions are. I would say pre-authorized payments in this case, because you're literally paying yourself, right? But what I want to tell you is, as much as possible, set up an auto payment or auto deduction from your account. What this does is it prevents you from rethinking your decision to save or invest. For instance, I have a Questrade account which I use for my investments, right? I have a percentage that goes into the account on a monthly basis, and I don't have the choice to stop that funds from moving to that account. That's something you need to do. It happens even without thinking. While you're sleeping, the money leaves your account and it goes into the account. Then you can decide what you want to do with the funds. If you want to invest in stock, you want to invest in real estate, or whatever thing you want to do. So the fourth thing I would like to talk about is what I call the emergency fund. I know I mentioned it earlier, but I am reiterating it because it's super important. Now, I see a lot of people don't have emergency funds, and then when for any reason they lose their jobs, if it's earned income they're solely relying on, or there's a loss of some passive income or side hustle they're doing, it becomes really difficult for them to survive if something happens that is unexpected, right? So the purpose of setting these funds is to protect you against emergency situations that might occur or arise down the line, right? And you know, the truth is that we cannot predict tomorrow. Nobody knows what might happen the next minute. There could be medical emergency that could happen. And when those things occur, you have no option than to cover for those bills. It could even be major repairs to your home or to your rental properties, which you have no option than to do it to avoid any sort of legal implications. So the benefit of the emergency fund is that it prevents you from dipping your hands into your savings or going into your banking platform to stop any auto deductions just because you need to meet up with some emergency that occurred down the line. So the fifth thing I would like to talk about is increasing your income sources. I know I cannot overemphasize this. This is super important, and I know that everybody's aware. It's the talk of the day. We're all saying, oh, I want to increase my income sources, I want to do this, but many people probably don't even know how to go about it. Well, one thing I'm also going to be doing in my channel is to provide several income sources that you could adopt. I'm going to be providing as many ideas as possible that can help you through increasing your income sources. Now, there are many income sources today. We have the earned income, which can be from your job, from your business, whatever the case may be, and we have like the side hustle, we have the passive income. So passive income in this case would be funds that you can make while you're sleeping. I think those are the best, really. For instance, dividend, affiliate income, those are passive income that you can make without even breaking the bank or without stressing yourself or moving a finger. So that's something you need to consider. The next strategy I would say you should adopt, which I think is super important, is invest in a course, invest in a book. Now, let's take a step back. We all are knowledgeable in different areas. For instance, I'm a finance person. I've been in finance for over a decade, right? I have so much knowledge on finance. I could simply transfer some of my knowledge in finance into a course material or into a book. In the same vein, you're probably versed in some areas. It could be technology, it could be anything. All you need to do is document all these ideas in your head and then probably, sell them. Who knows? The seventh important strategy which you need to adopt for success or for early retirement is what I call avoiding lifestyle creep. And what do I mean by this? Now, think about it this way. You're probably earning $100, for instance, and then down the line, for some reasons, you grow your income sources and you raise it up from $100 to say $200. There's a tendency, right, for your expenditure to increase in line with your income. Now, that is lifestyle creep. So I've seen several times where people make more income and in the process want to expand on the kind of things they use or the kind of lifestyle they live. They want to live in a highbrow area, they want to live in a more expensive area, they want to buy a bigger house. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do these are very amazing things, but then if you are on your journey to early retirement or financial independence, as I would say, you need to cut down on the lifestyle creep to avoid things that are going to make you spend much more money as your income sources increase. Okay, the next strategy I'm going to be talking about might seem like the most unpopular opinion. You probably may not agree with me on this, and that's totally okay, but I know that people have adopted it and it's really worked for them. And that strategy is avoid buying new gadgets or jumping on the latest technological trend. Very important. So for many people that love cars, they want to buy the latest cars. That's not a bad thing. That's amazing. But you know what? The moment you drive your car out of that store, I assure you that the value has dropped. And you'll probably not be able to sell that car at the same price, even if you were to just turn back into the store where you bought the car and try to resell it. Now, those are the kind of things I'm talking about. Latest gadgets. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy technological gadgets, but don't be that guy that jumps on every new technology that comes out and wants to have the latest. Unless, of course, if it's a source of income for you. If it's a source of income for you, then that's a different case. But if it's just something you hold for probably bragging rights or just for its use, then I would recommend that you avoid them as much as possible. So the ninth strategy which I will be talking about is what I call avoiding bad debts. Now, debts could be good or bad, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying debts generally are bad. There are good debts and there are bad debts. The question is, are you able to differentiate between what is good and what is bad? That's super important for you to think about. Now, how do I differentiate it? Now, the key underlying factor which you need to know is for a debt to be regarded as good, there has to be some sort of returns on that investment. So what do I mean? I'll give you an example. If I were to pay for a school loan today, I know for some reasons down the line, I'll probably be yielding some benefits from it, right? Because after my schooling days, I'm able to get a job or secure a job and make some money that can help me pay off the loan. Also, if you look at business loan, for instance, when you get business loan, the aim is to fund your business idea so it comes to fruition, and then the income from it is used to pay off the loan. Now, the rule of thumb I would say is returns on investment. So if I'm using that debt in such a way that it yields some sort of returns, then it is a good debt. Now, if I'm using that debt in such a way that it's just for lifestyle and there's no sort of returns, then I would regard it as bad debt. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody needs some percentage of bad debt. Now, you just need to know what the ratio of good to bad debt is for you, and you need to balance it out. I would always say keep the low percentage to the bad debts. Example of bad debts is auto loan, right? Unless, of course, if you're using your car for, say, delivery businesses or ride share, that's a different case, right? But if it's just for pleasure or just for your personal use and it's not yielding any sort of returns, then you can easily regard that as a bad debt. Okay, so the next strategy I would like to talk about is diversifying your investments. I see people that get super stoked about investing in a certain idea, maybe because people are talking about it or because that's a trend, right? And what they don't do is diversifying their investments. So think about if all your funds are put into real estate and there's a real estate crash down the line, you probably would regret some of those things, right? But if you had investments in stocks, you had investments in, say, crypto, or you had investment in real estate and many more areas, what that does is diversifies your investment portfolio. And if there's a downturn in one of those areas, it's offset by the increase in other areas. So that's something you also need to adopt and super important. Okay, the 11th strategy is downsizing. All right, what do I mean by downsizing? Downsizing is simply reducing whatever capacity of anything you're doing to a smaller capacity. In this context, I'll be specifically talking about downsizing your home. And what do I mean? I see some people have like super big houses, and big houses are really good, but sometimes it comes with a large mortgage, right? So my rule of thumb is if the house doesn't have a good potential to yield some sort of benefits down the line, I know we actually cannot read the market to know what's going to happen down the line or in the future. But if you feel strongly that your home doesn't have the level of prospects that you need, then that just might not be the best of ideas, right? You might want to consider downsizing your home, okay? The other thing under that, which you could do instead of downsizing your home, is renting out your free rooms or your vacant or available rooms. So depending on how willing you are to, let a stranger probably come into your home or be in your space, that would determine how comfortable you are with this decision. But I think it's a really good area to consider if you have not considered that. So there are platforms such as Airbnb, short-let rentals, and so on, where you could rent out 1 or 2 rooms in your home which you are not using simply because the house is really big for you, right? Also, I'm not leaving those who are renting properties. Like if you rent a property and it's quite big for you, probably has so many rooms and it's just you alone, for instance, you might want to consider either getting a roommate so that you're able to split your costs. And again, if you think that you are not comfortable having a roommate because for some personal reasons or privacy reasons, then you might consider downsizing rather than staying in a super big place where you get to pay so much rent. The second to the last strategy which I'll be talking about is what I call selling or renting your tools, accessories that you don't use anymore. I'll give an example. Some people have snow blowers, right? And during the winter, it's like we have so much snow and not everyone is comfortable spending lots of time shoveling the snow off their driveway or the roads or whatever the case may be, you might want to consider renting out your snowblower to people, and that could just be a means for you to make some extra income, right? Now, other things like ladders or any toolbox that you have. Some people have like massive toolboxes. You might want to consider renting that out to your neighborhood or people within the area, or you could sell some unutilized equipment that you have in your home. Now, the last strategy, which I think is the most important of them all, is believing in yourself. So for many people, it's a complete paradigm shift, or I would say a mindset shift. Now, many people don't believe that they will ever be financially free. Some people believe that they will be stuck in debt for the rest of their lives. Some people believe it's a fallacy or myth to think that financial freedom would ever happen for them or to them. Now, that is where you need to shift your mind off from and believe in yourself, and believe in the value that you have as an individual, the value you exude as an individual, and what you can do as an individual. These are things you need to think about and you need to tell yourself. For instance, I have a vision board where I write all my goals and objectives, things I want to see down the line, things I want to see 10 to 15, 20, 30 years down the line. I write them, I think about it, I ruminate over it every day. And you know what it does to me? It shifts my mindset completely. And if you do that, I assure you that you're going to thank your stars for trying that out. All right, thanks for taking the time to listen to my 13 beautiful strategies for retiring early in your 30s or your 40s. If you enjoyed my tips and the gems I dropped in this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. It also helps the algorithm so people can see it. And most importantly, click on the notification bell and you'll be notified when I drop a new video. Well, I thought to just give a little bonus point. In my next video, I'll be talking about ETFs, which means exchange traded funds. I'll be demystifying the concept of exchange traded funds for you, how to invest in it, and what you need to do to make passive income from exchange traded funds and index funds overall. Thank you, and see you at my next video. Bye.